Hello, nice to meet you guys. I'm Hikaru, I'm a Wolf YouTuber, and I just got addicted to Project Moon games. Anyways, so I started playing Project Moon games about 2 weeks ago. My brother introduced me to Lobotomy Corp, and I just got super invested in the story. And I thought about making a tier list of my favorite characters from a new player perspective. Keep in mind that during the timing of this video, I've only played up to Kanto 4, which is like Yi Sang's Kanto, I believe, and I loved it. That just kind of solidified my idea that I want to make content for this type of game. So my judgment might be a little biased because there's some characters where we know a lot about, and then other characters, it's just kind of like we only know their surface level personalities. Oh, this is a tier list, by the way, that I found on the tier list maker website, I guess. I just kind of Googled it, and we only have 12 sinners, so this is probably going to be a really quick video. In the future, I'll probably make a little bit longer videos based on the characters here as I play through the game, and I want to do more live streams of the Kantos and the events that are going on in the game as well. Oh, one more thing to keep in mind. This tier list is my personal opinion of the characters and how much I like them. I'm going to be taking into account how much I like them and their role in the story. The first character is Dante, and I think that he belongs in B tier. He just doesn't seem like much of a character yet. He hasn't had any real development as far as I know. He lost his memories, and his managerial decisions are kind of like middle of the road. He doesn't really do anything crazy. He just kind of goes along with the flow. I feel like he's just there to advance the plot, even though he's supposed to be you. And I don't really know much about him just yet, but he seems okay. You know, he seems like an alright kind of guy. So I just don't think there's a lot to say about him at the moment. I think most of a lot of the other sinners have their personalities like really fleshed out, even right off the bat with their introductions. This is Donkey, and I personally don't really like Don Quixote. I think that they have this like real gremlin energy vibe that I don't know. I'm not that much of a chaotic person, but I think that she has a really vibrant and interesting personality, but it's not one that I could get around. Like, I don't know if I would want to be friends with this person, just because it seems like every time there's trouble, Don Quixote is like doing something troublesome. But even though she gets people into trouble and gets herself into the trouble a lot, I feel like her personality is a little bit hilarious. It's so cartoony and vibrant that I feel like she's kind of the life of the party. And at the same time, I can't stand her because she just messes everything up. Like, we got a plan, this is what we're gonna do, and then in the middle of Kanto 3, she's like, I'm just gonna mess everything up. And I don't know how I feel about that. So the next sinner, I think this is Sinclair. Sinclair, I don't really like Sinclair either. I'm not really huge on Sinclair. Like, if I were to give him a tier, I'd probably give him a C tier. I did not resonate with this story very well. I did get past it. It's in his story is Kanto 3, and it's the story of the Grippers. I feel like Sinclair is not as pitiable as some of the other characters, especially compared to Kanto 4. Kanto 2, you can clearly see the difference of ideologies between people, and that causes rifts between characters. But Kanto 3 was mostly about Sinclair and his big mess up that like caused all these problems without getting too much into spoilers. I feel like Sinclair just kind of messed everything up for himself and for other people. And now he regrets it. And I don't hate Sinclair. Like, that's why I'm not giving him D tier, because at the very least, he's kind of like, I know I did something wrong. I know I messed up. And that's why I'm trying to fix it. And that's why I joined the Limbus company. So I don't really hate Sinclair for that reason. But even during this story, after his character development where he starts to like get back on his feet and stuff like that, he still really doesn't contribute much to the story. I feel like his personality doesn't stand out in a lot of ways. He's just kind of like actually the kid who gets bullied, which is not much of a change from his past. And I feel like that just makes it so he didn't develop as much. Faust. I love Faust. Faust is S tier for sure. I think that like her AI type, like her robotic personality is one of my favorite types of personalities out there. She has a really cool, I feel like there's so much mystery behind this character because she's so, it feels like she's holding on to secrets, and I also feel like she does have somewhat of an investment in what happens in the company, and I'm really curious to know about her past. Like Faust seems to know, well, Faust knows all outcomes apparently, but it seems like Faust doesn't really have a lot of it seems like Faust is probably going to be one of the last stories in the Cantos that is going to be coming out. So I don't exactly know how that's going to play out. But she's really good at like guiding the story along. She's kind of like I don't know. I don't really know how to describe her just yet because she hasn't really done anything. Other than that, her like impassive type way of speaking is almost a little bit of a comedic relief compared to the rest of the people, where she gives you like the hardcore facts whether you like to hear them or not. Gregor, I think Gregor is probably A tier. I do like Gregor. He was one of the first stories. I think his canto was the first one, and I don't really agree with what happened to him in the past. Like he's basically a deserter from Lobotomy Corp during the war and stuff like that. And I feel like the earlier cantos, their story isn't really fleshed out a lot, and I don't know that much about Gregor. But he is pretty talkative, and I feel like his personality really stands out. He's kind of like the dad joke or the funny uncle that kind of just comes around and is the butt of everybody's jokes, being the roach man and everything. I love that about Gregor. It's so unfortunate that he's the butt of the joke, but I think that makes his character, he kind of like rolls with the punches, you know? He's not a disagreeable guy. Even though his story is kind of done in Canto 1, he still contributes a lot to like talking to the story, and I feel like that makes him A tier. Heathcliff, I hear his Canto is the sixth one that's currently going on right now at the time of this video. And I don't really know a lot about him, but he is kind of an anger management person. I don't like that, but he seems to have like some deeper conflicts going on. I think I'm going to put Heathcliff in B tier. I thought about putting him in A tier, but I think that overall, I really don't like I'm angry at the world for some reason. I don't really know enough about his personality to judge him because I haven't done his story yet. But just based on the part of the story that I'm at, which is like in the early stages of Canto 5, where he just gets into fights with people. He's like the gangster, the Yakuza guy that wants to fight everybody all the time for looking at him funny, or the guy who extorts you for money or something like that. He just kind of seems like the common henchman bad guy. He's a professional hencher. And I don't know if he's gonna go through some crazy character development arc, but he does seem to settle down a little bit when he gets threatened by Virgil and in the middle of the intervallo. He has a lot of potential for character development, and I'm really looking forward to see how that pans out, because I like his design, and I think his uniqueness brings a lot to the team. So I think he's really cool. Hong Lu, I'm gonna just put him in B tier too. I like that kind of personality that he has. It's a little bit more chill. I would put like, if I just rearrange the order really quick, I would probably make it something like this. Hong Lu's personality is like very, very fake. I feel like if I met someone like this in real life, I'd be like, I could get along with them, but it's like you never really know a person. He seems like someone who holds on to a lot of secrets, or just like someone who floats around and is very, very like floaty. I feel like in a lot of animes there are a type of trope to describe this type of person. I forgot what the word is, but I'm sure it'll come to me eventually. I think that Hong Lu, who like brings comedic relief to the team, and I feel like he does know the world quite well. So I don't think that he's like a bad character. I think he's a good character. Let me get this straight. Like, okay, to clarify, B tier is kind of like they're fine as characters. Like I see where they kind of fit in, but I'm looking forward to see how they develop, or like they haven't developed just yet, in my opinion. I'm looking forward to see more of their personalities. So like the Sinclair kind of goes through it, but he doesn't really change too much. I think Donkey probably has a little bit more growth in that regard, because you can see like so many different parts of Don Quixote. For example, when the fixer guy comes in and then he like spazzes out about a grade 5 fixer during the boat arc, and it's just like, huh. Well, at least I know something about him, you know. Ishmael, I feel like also belongs to B tier. This is a lot more B tiers than I thought it was gonna have. But Ishmael, I don't really know a lot about her yet either. I'm in the middle of her canto, and I feel like her story is a little bit. Her story is really interesting actually, but her as a character, I feel like is not really descriptive. She's written very well. Don't get me wrong, all these characters are written very well. But this is like kind of like my likability towards any particular character. And she doesn't really do a lot, or her personality is like very broody, who doesn't talk a lot. I feel like she's not doesn't try to be funny. She just kind of like is taking orders at the moment, takes things a little too seriously. And I think that like that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like a lot of the problems that a lot of these characters have could be resolved just by like talking it out, or you know, going to therapy. They should have a therapist on the bus. Just saying. That's not Virgil killing them when they disagree. Here is Mersal, and I don't really know a lot about Mersal either. He just doesn't say much. I think he's interesting. I mean, like, well, I wouldn't say he's interesting. He's a character. He's just kind of around. He follows orders. He doesn't mess anything up. He's chill. Like, what is more to say about him? He's B tier, you know. He's very like resourceful, I guess. I would put him in B tier. He's just kind of decent at everything. I don't really know much about his IDs. I'm just kind of like, okay, that's a guy. So I guess I just don't have a lot to say about Mersal because he just doesn't do a lot. Otis or Wheatus, or I don't know how to pronounce it. I love her. She is so funny. She gives off like bootlicker vibes, and I've said this before on stream, but she reminds me of like Psyche Kuso's dad, and she is just like I can't get over the scene where it's like, yeah, the commander would never do that, and then he does it, and she's like, oh, well, yeah, screw you guys anyways. She's like your ride or die best friend, but like just as a company bootlicker. And I love that about her. She is unintentionally one of the funniest characters in the entire cast, and I hope to see more of her. At the same time, like, she's pretty capable. I think she's like part engineer, and she's also kind of like a really funny role player at times as well. And I feel like her characteristics are really funny. I really do hope to see more of her character eventually throughout the story. I just can't get over how well she kind of fits into her own character, you know? Roden, I mean, I like her. She's your funny One-san who is just kind of around. She's great at gambling. Like, she's kind of like your typical One-san character, I feel like. I don't dislike her, and I don't really love her for any reason. Like, I don't know. She doesn't seem like a bad person, you know? But she doesn't have anything that makes her really outstanding as far as I can tell. Her story was the second one, and I do like the fact that she has pretty deep thoughts about what to do in the condition of the city and how to improve things. Ryoshu, S tier. Ryoshu is easily one of the funniest characters there. Her acronyms, I have like, I need to Google like a list of Ryoshu's acronyms later on just to see what the heck they all mean. I see them occasionally. I can't remember them all, but there's ones like sync. Like, I get it. She's so funny. Very like aggressive attitude makes her really likable. It's like aggression paired with a little comedic relief at the same time. But it's different from Heathcliff's. Like, Heathcliff always wants to pick a fight, but I feel like Ryoshu is just like, get out of my way. Anyways, Ryoshu is just so funny. I just think that like her character is also very Yakuza-like, but it's supposed to be like an assassin, right? And her archaic way of talking is just so unique about her, and I love how she just kind of fits into every story. Also, she seems pretty badass. Like, she seems like a really cool character. So I hope to see more of her as well. Yi-san, I'm gonna give an I'm gonna put him at the top of A tier, and this is probably only because I've played through his Kanto. They say Isan speaks like really poetically. I don't know. He does speak a little poetically, but it's not as bad as you guys think. Like a lot of the things that a lot of people are posting in videos, I feel like they exaggerate a lot, and I'm kind of exaggerating a little bit too. But Isan story was so good. I loved Kanto 4. Out of all the Kantos that I played, which is 4 of them, the 4th one is definitely best. I feel like I cried at the end, okay? Like, Kanto 4 was so sad. There are a lot of... I didn't cry during any of the other Kantos. I feel like they were just, like, good stories. But Kanto 4 really hit it home. Granted, it was one of the longest ones. There were a lot of trash mobs. So, the story was really interesting and really fleshed out, though. I'm so happy that I read through it all. He used to, like, not say much at all. And now, after Kanto 4, like, at the start of Kanto 5, he's like, taking an active role in his team, and I love that. Like, that is awesome character development. He like moved past his hardships to like become an active member of the team, and I think that's so cool. I love that about him. Actually, I'm like, it's a little unfair because I played through his story already, but I love the fact that he developed his character so well. I'm just gonna move him S tier. I guess that's the end of the tier list, but like there's also Virgil, Sharon. Sharon's so funny. Like I feel like you don't really know a lot about her yet. I don't really get her either, but she's the bus driver. Silly haha, talks like a child. She has a very like childlike way of speaking. Virgil, I love Virgil. He's pretty he's so broody. Even though like I don't dislike that about him, but I feel like he needs to be I would like him more if he was just like, at least we're on the same team, I'm here to discipline you guys and help you out a little bit and guide you. While I'm here, I could also help you do a couple of other things. I feel like he does do that occasionally, like helps discipline the team. I feel like he could do a little bit more. That's like the least he could do, like while it's happening in front of him to make things go a little bit more smoothly. Yeah. And then I don't know who this guy is. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching my tier list. And I hope to see you guys in my next video. See you later. Bye-bye.